Hey guys, welcome back to Angry Mack Adventures, and in this episode we are installing the Hydrive hydraulic steering kit, so stay tuned. So first of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to you guys for commenting on the channel, which is helping me and also the boat restoration. A couple of you guys were commenting on a few things actually, and one being the flush port for the Evinrude outboards. So one thing I didn't know is that they were used for cold flush starts. You guys have advised me to run the muffs. So I went out and purchased myself a set of muffs for the Evinrude. So from now on, once I finish my day's fishing or my day's boat trip, I'll throw these on. So thanks for that. Oh, it's good to have power in the boat, that's for sure. So the reason why we want this to be down is so the engine can sit as straight as we can, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later. So next step, let's jump into the boat and I can explain to you guys everything that's in the kit for the Hydrive system. Hey guys, so I just jumped in the boat and I'm going to go through the Hydrive system that I will be installing into the boat. So I've just purchased this from Whitworth's down in Perth, and you've got everything you need to install it. So in this system, it comes with everything. You've got your helm, you've got your cylinder or your tiller that hooks up to the outboard, you've got your hydraulic oil. This, I'm guessing, is just what helps you bleed it at the front. And you've of course got all your fittings, attachments, and your line that runs from the front to the back of the boat. So the first things first is we're going to take this main shaft off, which runs basically parallel to the engine here. So you've got yourself a bunch of spacers, and you've also got these two, I should say, adapters that sit on the ends of the threads here, and that's what tightens everything up. So first things first is we'll take this off, and then we're going to give the threads a bit of a clean, because it's recommended that these to be hand tight when we install these. So we'll give those a bit of a clean and be ready to install. So let's take it to the bench. So I'm on the bench, and what I'm going to do while I'm here is install the fittings that sit on the Hydrive system. So what I'm going to do is just open this up here. Now with the Hydrive, you've got instructions everywhere and they're very, very clear. Take your time to read through everything, make sure you don't miss anything. It looks fairly straightforward. So I've just taken the caps off, and there is a little bit of oil just sitting inside there. So it's recommended just to give those a bit of a wipe. Now putting these T-pieces in, you have some supplied Loctite. So what I'm going to be doing is using a little bit of this. Now it's saying do not over tighten, to have medium pressure. So it sounds like these here can strip quite easily, so use medium pressure to screw these in. Some Loctite on here, if it comes out, if it wants to come out. Beautiful. And screw these in. Now what's cool about these as well is that I'm pretty sure, yeah, so once these are actually tightened, you can switch these around to make so that your bleeder valve is on the right way. So this one here actually worked in my favour, this one here didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to release some of that pressure. If I can find the right bloody spanner. Pull that out, and just like that you can switch the position. So that's just easy way to make sure that you want them in the right position. But the next step for the system is to take this rod off. So this comes just with a nylon nut and a stainless washer, and this gets pulled out in one side, just like so. So what comes with the system is, like I was mentioning before, you've got your two adapters, or threaded adapters as such, which go on either side of the engine and all these spaces here. So you just got to work out what suits, or what best suits your engine with this system. So what we're going to do is we're just going to test fit it, and making sure that the engine is dead straight. We're going to sit this in position and work out what spaces we need. Now, something that I should have mentioned before is when you are installing the outboard is to make sure that you do put this Hydrive system on first, because these older boats have a small engine well, and when you're installing the rod inside the engine here, is that it does hit on the side of the boat. And lucky for me that it's got the hole where all the wires run directly opposite where the rod has to be fitted. So I really got away there. So in the instruction manual, they did say for these adapters or nuts to actually go on hand tight. Now, having the engine sitting in storage for a while, I just want to give them a bit of a clean. They probably just have so much debris and all sorts of gunk on there to prevent it from screwing on. Now, once that's all cleaned up, you can actually see in the nut or the adapter here that you've got a little Allen key or a little grub screw. So make sure that that's winded down so it's not sitting in the thread. And once that goes on, it should go on nicely. So once they're sitting on and the engine's straight, about here, you just want to sit this on and work out what spacing you need. So I just figured out that I will have to use this hole here, which fits better with the Evinrude. So once I've temporarily fitted this up like so, you've just got to work out what spaces to use. Oopsies. So these were the spaces that came with the outboard, or with the system, which fits perfectly with this one here and this little spacer. So once you worked out what spaces you want, you get yourself your rod. Like I was saying before, thankfully the hole was here and not anywhere else, otherwise we would have been a bit screwed. This goes through like so with your spacer. That goes through the engine. Like that. Now don't push it all the way through, because you have got to put the other spacer on the other side. There we go. Once that's in, your washer and nut then goes back on, just like so. And then this comes up to the party wherever you need it. So obviously the engine needs to go to the right, which lines up perfectly with that one there. Now, once these are tightened up, these adapters or nuts or whatever you like to call them, just then get hand tightened to the side, and that stops the movement from left to right. So once they're then tightened up to where you desire, you can actually move where you would like the grub screw. So the grub screw is sitting over here. If you would like it there, just take that grub screw out like that. Hand tighten it where you like, then throw that grub screw back in, nice and firm. So the back of the boat is now done, and it's just installing the helm. Now I've just pre-installed these with the Loctite, and this is where I'm going to be installing it. So don't worry about this at the moment. I've just taped it up in position to roughly where I'm going to install the wiring, because I want everything to go in first and then make it all nice and neat, because I'm a bit anal with the wiring, so I just want to make sure it's all nice and neat. But I did have to loosen this off just a little bit so I can push the helm through, tighten it all up, and then I can crank those to position. Alright, so just from all the build up over the restoration, I'm just going to drill the holes. Just so we have no troubles fitting that in. Alright, lovely. So that's now installed. I'm just going to put the nuts and washers on and tighten it up. And of course, I'm just going to put this fitting facing starboard side, so that's ready to go for tomorrow. So this is the back of the helm, which is now installed. I've just put some bigger stainless steel washers just to support the weight, and I'm just going to let the Loctite now dry up. So, and yeah, like I was mentioning before, this is just temporary, just to work out where my wires are. So I want to get all the wiring in, and then I can clean it all up. Also, what I've done is I've taken out the two Evinrude gauges. So they're just these, well, the trim and the volts gauge. I've taken them out because I've just bought some new ones because the volt gauge wasn't working. So trying to find a genuine Evinrude gauge is near on impossible, especially for a gauge that old. So I've purchased a new fuel gauge, a new trim gauge, and new volts gauge. So they're all coming, and it'll look nice with the dash once it's all done. So that's where I am at the moment. So I'm just going to let all the Loctite dry and come back in the next couple of days and run the lines to the back and bleed it all. Hey guys, so it's the next day, and all the Loctite's now dried up. We've got Mr. Chitch over there giving us a hand. Give us a wave, Uncle.
You got me, mate.
Loves it. Oh, here's your lighter.
Oh yeah, thanks heck after 2 weeks.
Sorry, mate. Alright. That's looking pretty good, eh, Uncle?
Yeah.
Made all that nice and neat. I put all that in Corrie, so
yeah.
What we got to do now is we got to run the cable or the line through to the back. So we got that, and of course we've got the oil to install as well, and here's the collars here as well. So all got fitting instructions here, so we'll install that. Alright, so we've got the line here. Weird looking, isn't it? Alright, let's get this to the back. Alright, so we're just at the front of the boat again, and if you guys end up getting one of these steering kits, the instruction manual is insane. It's literally everything that you need. So what we've got to do is we've got 2 outlets to go to the back of the outboard, one for the starboard, one for the port side of the cylinder that connects to the engine. So looking at the manual here of the layout, so you've got the port side of the helm, which goes to the starboard side on the outboard, and you've got the starboard side of the helm, which goes to the port side of the outboard. So what I've done is every couple of meters, I've just put the tiniest little bit of electrical tape on the tube, so I know which side's which going down to the back of the boat, but we'll just make sure that it's the right way and fit it up. So this is pretty straightforward. I'll show you guys how to install the collar so we don't have any leaks, and once we've installed that, we can start the bleeding process. So I'll bring you up close and show you how to do this. Well, first things first is just unscrew the nut. Then what you do is you then install that onto the line, put your collar in just like so, push that all the way in till it stops, screw it on, now once that's screwed on and it's sitting there, what I like to do is I'll just put a little bit of electrical tape, push that out maybe 3 to 4 mil, just like so, and then give her a good crank. That's pretty damn firm there. That ain't going anywhere. So we'll just do the next one, and then I'll bring you to the back. Okay, they're now inside the helm. So what they're doing is they're running from the helm down the side of the boat to the back here. So we're just going to work out what length we need. Got the one with the tape here, which was the starboard sign, and we've got to put that on the port side of the outboard. So I want to run these with just a little bit of leeway, which will be running up and then down like so, and this one here will be coming around like that, just to give it some sort of movement as well. So this here is only moving, 200 mil left and right, so not as much as the wiring loom. So what we're going to do is we're just going to measure it, make sure we're happy, and then same as before with the collars. Beautiful. So on top of the helm, you got yourself like a little screw. That's where all the oil gets put in. So in your kit, it comes with this little gadget here, which helps funnel all the oil in. So it comes with a little fitting that just screws on top of the steering here, just like so. And then that's where you put your bottle on top there. So I'm having trouble with it breathing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this open. Okay, so I've just made this funnel-like because there was no air, meaning that the oil wasn't traveling down. Bit of a process with the Hydrive instructions, and essentially what we got to do is we got to drain 1 litre through the system. Well, actually on the book is 2 litres, but they've only supplied us with 2 litres of oil. So, and I've only got a 1 litre that I'm using as a funnel, so I'm just going to bleed it maybe 6 or 7 times on each side. Essentially, Chich is on the other end. He cracks it open. We turn it anti-clockwise as he is on the port side. Anti-clockwise at about 1 second per turn. This is going to drain through, which is approximately 1 litre. Once that's gone through, Chich will crank it, the bleeder closed. He's going to then run it through, back to me, fill the funnel back up, and we repeat the process 5 to 6 times on both sides. We've now drained approximately 900 mils, which is good, which has gone through the system now. So Chich is just cranking that bleed valve closed. He's going to run past to me. We're going to fill it back up and repeat the process.
Okay, no air.
Yep, lock it.
Okay, want to give you the oil now?
Yep. That's quite nice actually. To tell if there's any air inside the system is how much plays in the steering wheel. So if I just go like this, the steering wheel is moving. So to me, that's pretty good. And all the lines don't touch, which is really good. And if I go straight, which is about there, the steering wheel's pretty close to center. Stoked with that.
Straight in here.
Now a good way to check your system to make sure that all your collars have been put in is to go all the way to one side. Once it stops, give it a good crank. And make sure that you don't have any leaks, because you'd rather it here than out in the ocean, that's for sure. So,
There's no movement there.
yep, that's it. Beautiful. Alright.